Riya Mittal, and I will be your host for today. So, welcome to GoSeller 2021 Day 3, and we will be talking about Amazon's A9 algorithm and how you can hack it. So, just a recap for the last few days. So, day one was all about getting your fundamentals right. So, we had Henrik Johansson come in and talk about finding the right product for your business for 2021. Then we have James Smith from Alibaba who spoke about sourcing for your business for 2021. And then we had Menon who came and spoke about increasing your profit margins for 2021. And for day two, we had Nitin Manfredi, who is our PPC expert, and he spoke about how you can crack the PPC code on Amazon. And we also had one of our case studies from Eco Safety, and we were joined by John Bennett, who is one of our clients, and we did a case study on him and how we increased his visibility online. For today's, the agenda is going to be really fun because we are talking about cracking the A9 algorithm on Amazon. So everyone who's joining right now, hi everyone, welcome to GoSeller 2021 Day 3. So the session will start with Ram Menon, and he will be talking about how to be the best seller in 2021. We'll be covering some ranking strategies and how you can benchmark for your business. Then we have Anthony from PickFu. He will be covering listing optimization for 2021. He's a genius, and his presentation is super fun. So I'm really excited for his presentation. And of course, our event cannot be complete with our PPC expert, Nitin Manfredi, who will be talking about monitoring your Amazon business for success. So he'll be covering some very important topics that you need to know. And let's just dive right into the session. So for everyone who's joining right now, let me know how you enjoyed day one and day two, and if you have any comments and suggestions for us. So I see that Nancy Green has already joined. Hi, Nancy, how's it going? Okay, so all the questions will be answered towards the end of the session where we have a panel discussion with all our speakers. So without any further ado, I'm going to call Ram Menon on the screen right now, and he will be talking about how to be the best seller in 2021. Hi, Ram.
Hey Riya, thank you for the quick introduction.
Yes, so I understand that you're talking about ranking and benchmarking, and are you excited for the event?
I'm excited, nervous, both together since it is one of the last days, but I think it's all for a good reason, and hopefully we have some useful information for all the Amazon sellers.
Yeah, and for all the registered users out there, we have a goodie bag prepared for you, which you will get on your registered email IDs very soon. And there's more coming, so the event does not end here. So, of course, you'll just keep an eye out on your email IDs, and we have a lot of surprises for you coming along the way. So, Ram, I think we're ready for your presentation.
Perfect. I will just give me a second.
And there it is. I see it. All right, so let us know if you have any questions in the comment section below, and we're getting started with the presentation now.
Perfect.
You're on the
Thank you once again, all of you guys. As Riya mentioned, this is our final day in terms of understanding, what is the guide to benchmarking your Amazon business, right? So, what we wanted to really encompass was to help you understand, where we are, who we are, and to give you a quick introduction in terms of, who I am. I'm one of the director of sales at SellerApp. What our goal is in terms of SellerApp is to help brands grow their business, and obviously with any seller or any Amazon business, one of the most important benchmarks is to understand what is happening, right? What is really happening, and be the final bestseller. Now, what is really required to be the bestseller on Amazon, and that is where we really come in, right? The first and the most important question is understanding how to benchmark yourself, right? So what we're going to talk today about is a couple of deep points in terms of how to benchmark in terms of your competition, in terms of yourself, and the reason why we need to really do that, right? Obviously, one of the most important reasons is to keep up with your best sellers, right? I mean, you need to understand what your best sellers are doing today in the market. Are they increasing the price? Are they decreasing the price? Are they doing advertisements or not? How much are they spending in terms of advertisements? Do they have a brand in the market? Do they have any plus content? Understanding, how to further scale up your business, right? Understanding what the competition does virtually will improve how to scale up your business. And also, finally, it all comes down to money, right? To increase your profitability in the Amazon scale of business. What we want to talk today is 5 steps what we really thought was really important in terms of benchmarking an Amazon business, right? And to go into deep detail in terms of, the first step is to understand what is your final business objective, right? As any business, Amazon also has a certain plan of action in terms of what you need to be doing. And as a seller, one of the clear objectives you need to have is what is your clear direction in terms of your business? Are you having a 1 year plan? Are you having a 2 year plan? Having a 3 year model? How much do you actually want to spend in terms of advertising? How much you will spend in terms of branding your product? What is the final cost of the product you need to really focus upon? One of the second points, what you would really do is manage your business model in terms of Amazon, right? So, as you know, there's various different models where a seller can actually do their business in Amazon. Obviously, one is the OEM model. Second is the most famous one, that is your private label model. Uh, Now we've seen a lot of customers in the last few years where they've actually developed into the wholesaling model as well. But one of the most complicated, and say one of the most difficult, and probably the easiest method is the arbitrage model, right? But as a preference, you have to have a clear indication of which direction you want to take your business. Are you want to do a one dimension in terms of a product? Are you comfortable in terms of handling multiple products in various different categories itself? Or you want to do kind of a private label in terms of focusing, saying that I want to sell X product with X price, right? And that business model is really important for a customer to understand. Where even as a seller, right, you need to really focus upon understanding which model you want to really apply upon. Step two is really understanding the final granular data of your account itself, right? Now, am I making a profit or not? What is my operational profit? What is my net profit, right? End of the day, it all comes down to numbers itself, right? As a seller, it's really important for you to understand from your final price, what is the final margin you're actually making, right? What is the operational expenses? As a seller, you already understand that there's various expenses in terms of Amazon's requirement, right? You have your FBA fees, you have your selling fees, you have your pick packing fees, you have your delivery charges. Let's say if a product is actually refunded, then you have your refund charges, right? And the final net comes into understanding what is the final amount I'm getting after I make a month of sale, right? And that is a very important factor, which is really important to understand where you stand in terms of the business itself, right? I mean, is it actually profitable for you to continue doing your business, not, or you need to further invest to make it much more profitable? The step three, which we really want to understand, is to understand what those metrics are in Amazon, right? As all of you already know, there's various types of reporting, which is really important in Amazon. But I think what we try to really focus upon is three of the most important reporting, which is provided in the Amazon Seller Center itself, right? The first is obviously your business report. That directly gives you an understanding of what is your sales based on the SKUs, that is the ASINs on Amazon. Second is the inventory report, right? I mean, without inventory, there's no sales happening at Amazon, right? So that is one of the most important factors to figure out, whether you need to restock at a certain point in time and how much you need to actually restock, right? I mean, you cannot make a conscious decision for all your SKUs at the same level. Maybe you have your top sellers, which require immediate replenishments. You have your bottom sellers, maybe who's not moving in the market, but you have enough stock. Then you need to have a different tactics because obviously you don't want to have goods which is more than 150 or 360 days, which end up having more of storage fees. And the third part, which is one of the, I think in the recent past, I think it's the most critical factor, is the performance report. How is your account actually performing in terms of the whole Amazon business, right? I mean, are you getting good ratings? Are you getting good reviews? I mean, are you having more than a couple of refunds a month? How is the performance of the account? I mean, how are you doing in terms of advertising? So, to kind of understand the overall metrics of the account, I think the seller performance report is also kind of really critical in terms of the whole Amazon business itself. Uh, as I said earlier, the benchmarking in terms of the business reports, I don't want to go much in detail. As I said, the inventory report it's one of the most critical. I think one of the points I really missed out was kind of saying, really understand, what is the order defect rate, what is the cancellation rate, and what is the late shipment rate. I mean, these three metrics, I think we have seen with a lot of sellers, coming on and onboarding with us, as a client, saying, hey guys, we have issues in order defect rate, we have issues in cancellation rate, and how do we take care of this? How do we ensure that we fall under the parameter of Amazon's requirement? How do you ensure that we take care of that? And that's what we are in terms of SellerApp. We help you understand how the metric can be useful to help further improve your business itself. As I said, the final, not the final, but the step four is understanding a benchmark in terms of the seller itself, right? Understanding what products is selling, understanding finally what the gross margins are, figuring out, if a product is actually not making you money, do I still continue with it or not, or do I kind of, exit the product and say, wait, I've spent enough money. Now my job is to actually invest in a product which is actually going to make my profit, right? That quick decision to kind of make that judgment, that is kind of really important. We have seen a lot of customers in the past, coming out to us and saying, hey, I've been trying to sell this. At the end of the day, I'm not making enough money to cover my costs. Now, here at SellerApp, sometimes we have to give that bad answer to them, say, hey, I think based on our research, based on the thing, based on what our understanding is, probably this is not the right product for you. But at the same time, we want to ensure that we find the next product for the customers and say, hey, this is a product which is probably trending in the market itself, right? And the final part of it, and without this, obviously, nothing really works, right? Optimizing your product, what you're really looking to sell, right? Figuring out, what different prices are there, from your suppliers. At the end of the day, it all kind of boils down to understanding what is your net margin, what is your profitability, and the best ways to ensure that, when you're buying a product, figure out what the different prices of the products are from various suppliers and ensuring that you have the best possible margin itself. One of the side strategies, we have been doing since the pandemic was kind of increasing and decreasing the price of our products so that we're trying to figure out, which is the best price range, right? So as an initial probably launch product customer, you're trying to get the initial momentum sales, right? Maybe you're not worried about the margins you make in terms of the product, but probably 6 months down the lane, that's when you kind of really kick in and say, okay, now do I actually make my margins or not? And that's when you start playing with the price to try and figure out, does this really work out? Am I getting the same momentum sales? That is in terms of the product itself. And obviously, the second and third part is obviously understanding how do you need to actually position your product itself, right? With your listing, with your title, with your bullet points, with your A+ content. I mean, ever so more now, the whole optimization of the listing has become really critical in terms of Amazon business, because without that, really, it doesn't really work out, right? I mean, how does a customer really find your product? How does a customer really understand, what they need to search? Without that, that's kind of really critical. And I think one of the last parts I want to kind of really discuss was in terms of product bundling, right? We've seen a lot of customers not really use that feature, but I think this is a kind of good way to kind of segue in terms of understanding which other products can be actually bundled with the existing products itself. And that is something which needs to be really focused upon.
Are you short of product ideas? Our Amazon product database with over 35 million products and counting is the best place for you to kick off your Amazon product research. We find you exclusive niches and products with the best sales, products which are highly profitable and are low on competition. Our database collects data from over 35 million Amazon products, touching over 300 million data points. Our data grows intelligent and smarter each day. Thank you for such an informative presentation, Ram. I highly appreciate it. And for our next speaker, we are talking about listing optimization now, and we have Anthony from PickFu. So Anthony, I'm getting you on the screen now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm good. So when it comes to listing optimization, it's very important in terms of discoverability because people need to discover your products online. So I think this is where listing optimization and desirability comes into place. So Anthony is gonna make sure that your listings look perfect and ready to be clicked on by the end of the presentation. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna wait for you to share your screen.
Okay, sounds good. So I think, here we go.
And I see that we're getting a lot of questions, and this is amazing. So we are going to answer all of the questions towards the end of the session. Anthony, I see your screen, and I'm sharing it right now.
Okay, so I can start?
Yep.
All right, everyone. So I'm going to try to keep this quick. I've got a little bit of content to cover. This is best practices for conversion optimization. I'm going to cover a few different things. Like was said, my name's Anthony. I used to work for Amazon. I used to run a creative agency that we scaled to more than 25 full-time creatives. And after selling that company in late 2019, I started work on this company called PickFu as their industry liaison. But I'm not going to talk about me. I'm going to jump into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. And first with a little primer, kind of the framework, what is conversion optimization and how do you optimize your listings to get a higher conversion rate and make more sales? So the first thing that I really want to say, and just clearing up something that a lot of sellers get wrong, is they're under the misconception that when a shopper is shopping on Amazon, their expectation is that they're in this kind of captive bubble and they're solely focused on your listing, right? This is the expectation. But in reality, it's actually a bit different. When someone is shopping on Amazon, the customer is usually very distracted, right? The kids are running around in the background, the phone's going off. It's been a crazy year with COVID. And so the reality is this person who is on your listing is not a captive audience. They're actually very distracted, and you have to, in a very quick amount of time, communicate the core features and benefits of your product. And you have to do that in the most simplistic way, in the most effective way possible. When someone's shopping, there's really only two options, right? They're either going to buy the product or they're going to bounce from the page and buy a competitor's product. And unfortunately, the default is not for them to buy the product. The default is for them to open up a bunch of tabs, search around until they find, okay, here's the product that looks reputable, that looks legitimate, that they're actually going to click add to cart for. And so that's why when it comes to your listing, it's really important to have a high quality listing that communicates these points and information about your product, again, as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So one thing that I always like to remind people of is that your brain is what's driving the decision of if you're going to buy or you're going to bounce. And so your brain really is just a large graphics processor, right? Every second that your eyeballs are open, your brain is taking in visual signals and it's deciding how it's interacting with the world. And it's doing this faster than you even realize. In fact, 90% of all of the information that's transmitted through the brain is visual, and your brain is going to process an image 60,000 times faster than text. So again, you might not know exactly why your customer is clicking add to cart or why your customer is bouncing, but it's all because their brain is processing things faster than they even realize. And so you have to take advantage of that as a seller. So your real goal, again, just to be very clear about this, is your goal as a seller is you want to send as much information into the customer's brain as possible, and you want to do this in the smallest amount of time. So I just want to put this up on the screen for target conversion rates. I really want to highlight over here on the right-hand side. Yes, you can have conversion rates in excess of 40%. I've seen higher than 60%. And again, think about this, right? When someone's shopping on Amazon, they know that they want to buy the product, right? They've committed to it. They've typed it in the search results for Amazon. Now, all they're looking for is to see the one that looks reputable. It looks like it's going to fit the purpose that it is needed in their life, and they're going to add to the cart. So you have to give them a reason to buy the product, or else by default, they're going to bounce and you're going to have a lower conversion rate. So I'm just going to kind of go through very quickly some very fast tips for different categories, starting with the main image. The first thing that I'll say about the main image is this is crucial, is to show your product in use. And so on the left-hand side of the screen, we've got these reusable grocery bags, right? Just the product on a white background. And then if we compare it to the image on the right-hand side, okay, we're not only able to see very visual, bright colors of the produce that's inside the bags, but now we're able to see the product in use. So we get an idea that not all of the bags are the same size, that they can actually accommodate different size of fruits and vegetables, and even that the bag here in the lower right-hand side doesn't have any holes in it, so the coffee beans aren't going to spill out. Again, these are things that are going to increase your click-through rate. It's going to bring eyes to your listing, and you're not going to necessarily know exactly why or why this is increasing your conversion rate, but a customer's brain, again, think about all of the information that is going to come through this image versus this image, right? So try to show your product in use. Another really quick and easy tip in regards to your main image are things that I call eye candy. And so that is adding on additional elements to the main image. And so what's really interesting about this is kind of a gray area in terms of Amazon terms of service. But one really helpful tip here is that if your little decals like this are separated from the product, it's very risky, because the program that Amazon uses to detect these main image violations is looking for white space. So if it's actually connected to the product like this, the program is much less likely to pick it up. So I want to show this as well, right? This is sending really important information about the product. You'll see the 22 grams of protein. And then on the bottom of this protein powder, we have this mint chocolate chip. It's saying what the flavor is. What's very interesting about this is on first glance, it actually looks like this is part of the product packaging, but in reality, it's not, right? This is just a decal that's been added, but it looks so seamless that it looks like it's almost included in the product packaging. So again, this is a really, really easy way that you can send important and vital information to the customer's brain directly from the first page of search results, right? Two of the biggest factors people want to know: how many grams of protein is going to be in this protein powder? What is the flavor? And so really, really helpful tip here. It takes a minute to even look at. That's how clean it is. Yeah. So what I would say too is, in regards to pushing the boundaries on terms of service when it comes to main images, just remember that if you're adding props, you're adding in a model, you're adding in these extra decals into your main image, it's not going to result in a performance notification. The worst thing Amazon is going to do is they're going to suppress the image and they're going to put up whatever is your next image, or they're going to ask you to change it. So what I always recommend doing is to have a very safe option, like the one on the left-hand side with just the product on the white background. And then you can have the one that's a little bit more risky, and see if Amazon for your competitive category is going to allow you to kind of push the boundaries and put some extra props in the main image. Because if it kind of helps the customer make a better buying decision, then generally we see that it's okay. So in terms of product packaging, this is another really, really big factor in terms of conversion rate and in terms of click-through rate. And so what I recommend doing with the product packaging is, again, can you do to say exactly what the product is right in the customer's face, so that they don't have to spend any effort trying to understand what the product is or does. And so this was a really good case study we did, optimizing product packaging. You can see on the left-hand side, it doesn't look as good as the packaging on the right-hand side, but the big change here is that this is for a pet odor eliminator. Rather than making the brand name very big, very large, they made what the product does, the features and the benefits of the product, odor eliminator. They made that much more front and center. So again, don't make your customer's brain jump the gap. Even if they've typed in odor eliminator into Amazon, don't make their brain bridge that gap in terms of what the product is or what it does. Give it right to them so that their brain can quickly process and say, yes, this is the product that I'm looking for. Let me go and add it to my cart. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the next one. The other thing you can do with your product packaging as well is just think about, you might have your brand colors set out, but think about what small changes in terms of color variation you can do that's going to catch your customer's eyes. So both of these packaging designs are almost identical, but the one on the right is far more vivid. It's going to catch a lot more attention, right? Same thing with this peat mud mask here. Again, small changes in color variation can really make a big difference in terms of just getting eyes to your main image, convincing people to click through and actually get to your listing. This is, again, going with the example that I said. If you can, make your product packaging explain very clearly what the product is, right? Both of these products here are examples of organic protein. But again, if your customer is just quickly searching through, right, they're searching that first page of search results, unless they know that your brand is true fit, and for a lot of sellers, this is not going to be the case. You're not going to have a lot of brand recognition. Don't try to make people wonder. Don't try to make the brain jump that gap into terms of what the product actually does. Just show them straight in your face. Say, this is organic protein. Okay, moving on very quickly here to infographics. A really big thing that you can do. Back in the day, these used to be very common, is to have these competitor comparison graphics, right? You see a lot of check marks for your product and a lot of X's for the competitor. This is not a very effective thing, right? Think about, again, the brain is going to try to process this information. And the problem with these type of graphics is there's way too much going on here, right? Keep it simple and focus on one single competitor comparison. So for this phone holder, right, it's just saying one factor, not 10 different factors, but one factor. Ours is going to stay stable. The competitors is going to shake, right? The competitors is going to block your view. Ours is not going to block your view. Stick to one thing. Let the brain easily digest it. So someone who's searching for this product can say, oh, that's a cool feature. Let me go and add it to my cart. Another really easy tip that you can do and have your design team work with is to create consistent imagery across your image gallery, consistent branding. So you just kind of add in your color scheme at the bottom. And so this is going to help someone click through all of the images in your image gallery. It's going to make you look a lot more professional. And again, it's going to give the person who's searching for this product, it's going to give them an indication that, hey, this is a reputable brand. This is okay to add to cart, rather than bouncing to someone else who's done it a little bit better. Another really easy thing that you can do is add text to go beyond contextual information. So both of these graphics are trying to show that there's like some healthier alternative to a snack food. In this case, it's chips, right? Showing you, hey, you're going to get this many more chips. much more volume of chips for the same amount of, I guess, like fat or calories, whatever it might be, right? This one does a much better job because, again, it's using the text to not only match the visual information, but again, to take it a step further and really help make the brain follow and close that gap, right? Same amount of sugar, but you're getting way more gummies with this pile here on the right. The last tip here, I think, for infographics is shoot for an ultra-friendly mobile image, right? Just make it really big. Realize that almost 70% of people shopping on Amazon are going to be doing so through a mobile device, right? So make it easy to digest for the brain. Stick to one singular concept. The last thing here, and I hope I think I just a couple more minutes left here, is A+ content. I promised I would drop a couple quick tips about it. Number one is that brand story is important, right? But stick to the features of your product. I see way too many people going into long depths and long paragraphs about their brand story. And the reality is that your brand story is important, but people will care much more about the features of your product. And so in the earlier panel discussion, I talked about Tesla. You don't see Tesla talking about the environment, saving the sea turtles and the polar bears on their website. They stick to the features of their actual product, and it's very, very strong and powerful. They talk about how their solar panels look beautiful. They're going to last longer than tiles. It's going to pay for itself over time. Same thing with their cars, right? They don't talk about how they're saving the environment. They talk about the range. They talk about how fast they are, how fun they are to drive. So just think about that. What I will say is that a beautiful banner is more effective than a paragraph. And I really mean that seriously. So this is a really beautiful example of a well done A+ content, right? This is way more effective. You can look at this and in a second, your brain doesn't need to read a paragraph to say, I don't know what Julie's is, right? Some California superfruit, but I look at this in 1 second and say, this looks like a legitimate brand. So just think about that. I will say as well with A+ content, we're getting to more and more of these beautiful wide layouts, right? Where it's not so much on a bunch of text, it's much more visual. And so with your A+ content, I would encourage you to think about less is more. You have different formats and templates that you can use for A+ content. This is a really simple one where they've just made 3 ultra wide banners. And the effect of this is when you scroll down, right? If you have a simple product, think about something that's going to be mobile friendly. Think about something that's going to be easy to read, that even if they're in the distracted environment, they're like, okay, I can understand what the point of this graphic is. I will say that busy A+ content layouts still have a purpose, but they should be reserved for technical products. And so if you're selling something that's a very simple product that doesn't need a bunch of text, right? If you're selling a spatula, you don't need paragraphs of text to explain how this thing works. Keep it simple. But if you have a technical product, this is for GoPro, right? It's showing you all of the different use cases that you can use, all of the different features of the product. There are a lot of features. Then you're going to want a technical A+ content. But if you have a simple product, you should have a simple A+ content layout. Last little tip here is you can check out a group called Amazon Creatives on Facebook. It's a really great Facebook group for inspiration. I would heavily encourage you to go and check that out. You can get really great inspiration for infographics, for images, for A+ content, and really helpful all around. And I know that was really quick. So if anyone has any questions or wants to get these slides, you can hit me up, anthony@picfu.com.
That was a great presentation, Anthony. And I think this is why we have you, because you make things so much easier and so interactive. And I saw that there are so many questions for you already in the comment section down below. So, I mean, we'll be answering them towards the end of the session. And for everyone listening right now, I think it's a really good time to also start working on your Amazon storefront and getting those, taking these ideas and using them there as well. So thank you, Anthony, for being here. And I will see you in a couple of minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, and I think we cannot end GoSeller 2021 without talking about monitoring your business for more success on Amazon. So we have Nitin Mantredi come in right now. I'm putting Nitin on the screen right now. Hi, Nitin. How's it going? Yes, so yep. So Nitin is our PPC expert here, and he has worked in the industry for so long. So he will be answering all your PPC related questions. And if you have any more questions, you can just leave them in the comment section below and we will answer them. There's no issues at all. And all the presentations, as Anthony said, will be available to you after the session is over, and the link will be sent to your registered email ID with the goodie bag as well. So Nitin, let's start with the presentation. And Nitin's presentation comes with a little video in the beginning to understand more about our products. So let's start with that.
Margins by doing a ton of calculations.
Well, with SellerApp, you can access and monitor all your Amazon sales and profit breakdowns in one place. You can analyze the products that are costing you money versus the ones bringing you profit without having to manually dig through the reports. All the sales and profit data are automatically calculated and put down in one place. You can generate insights from sales trends, data, and metrics to set the right targets and forecast future sales performances. You can view the profit breakdown reports from the topmost level of the SKUs, enabling you to see and analyze where your real profits are. Use a variety of charts, KPI widgets, tabular columns, and pivot tables. You can drill down into your data for the insights that you need. For more information and for more product demos, check out the profit dashboard on our website.
Hey guys, so today we'll be talking about monitoring your Amazon business with success. So I think we've spoken a lot during the GoSeller event about how to optimize your PPC, how to optimize your listing. And end of the day in Amazon, it all comes down to two things. One is the discoverability and desirability. And I think there's a lot of content out there, there's a lot of information out there which talks about all these, about how to optimize your PPC, how to optimize your listing, what are the keywords that you need to select and put into your PPC campaign and the listing. So today we'll be talking a little more about other metrics that are very important to keep a track on and to keep a close watch on. We shouldn't be missing out on these. Like we'll be talking about why is it important to, what is a buy box, why is it important to track them, how do we maintain a good buy box percentage. We will be talking about the key metrics of your account. We'll be talking about the minimum advertised pricing, what it is, and how we can try to control that. And we'll a little about what is the listing, what is listing hijackers, and how can we try and avoid that to ensure that we don't lose out on our sellings. So yeah, I'm Nitin over here. I'm the director for customer success here at SellerApp. I started my career in a corporate and then ended up starting my own business, and then here I'm helping out Amazon sellers. So first of all, what is Amazon Buy Box? So Amazon Buy Box is the buttons that is displayed on the right side of every listing page which says buy now and add to cart. This is basically the button that every customer clicks and then buys the product. And every seller competes to get these buy box, and that's how you get the buy box percentage. For how much of the time in a day do you have the buy box? If you're competing between sellers, for how long of the day did you have the buy box? And that is very important. We need to have at least 90-95% of the buy box attached to our account. People who buy this product get that sale. So if you can notice, right under the buy box button, you will have the ships from and the sold by. The sold by defines who the seller is. So we need to ensure that our company is getting that mention over there as a sold by, right? Now, how do we win the buy box? So there are multiple metrics, there are multiple data points that Amazon tracks and ensures that the right product is getting delivered to the customers. So at the end of the day, Amazon is looking to ensure that the customers are happy. And there are a lot of checks to ensure that the sellers are delivering and ensuring the product is getting delivered on time. So some of the things that are important to ensure a good buy box is to maintain your inventory. Obviously, that's kind of obvious, because if you don't have inventory, obviously there's going to be a delay from the seller's side, from our side, to ensure the products are getting delivered to the customers. Amazon prefers sellers who are selling the products or getting the products delivered from their Amazon warehouses, which is called the Amazon FBA fulfillment. Now, this is important because from an Amazon's point of view, because they have better control on the deliveries. They have better control on the quality of the products that are getting received and sent to the customers. Obviously, the customer is going to be more happy when they get the products on time, and they have a very good logistics network. So the sellers also can be eased out to not be really that bothered about how to manage the logistics of delivering or getting the product to the customers. Then of course, one of the critical factors of ensuring you get the buy box is to ensure you have the most competitive pricing. So if there's a product that is being sold for a little lesser than what is already being sold by you, the other seller is going to get the buy box. So I think it's very important to ensure that we have the competitive pricing, and that's something that I will be touching upon a little later in the presentation today, with regards to the minimum advertised pricing. And then, of course, like I keep mentioning about, I've already repeated this. End of the day, the customer is important. Customer is God. I think everybody's heard this. Any entrepreneur has heard this a billion times, and that's, I think, the mantra for Amazon as well. End of the day, people, the users, the customers are important for Amazon. So they need to ensure that the customer is getting an exceptional experience, and as long as the sellers are maintaining that, I think we should be safe with getting the buy box and retaining the buy box. Then there are some other metrics which are very important. We've spoken a lot about the Amazon PPC, discoverability, desirability, ensuring we have the A plus content. But a lot of times people miss out on these important factors, and we have a lot of customers, or we have a lot of our clients who are sellers on Amazon who come back to us asking us about questions as to why is it that their products are getting delisted? Why is it being flagged as something that we cannot spend? Why is it ineligible? And that's when we go and check these metrics. End of the day, for a great user experience for a customer, there are a lot of metrics that Amazon has set up to ensure that is consistently being maintained. So these are the few metrics that Amazon tracks for each seller for every product. So to get into a little in depth, so we have cancellation rate, we have late dispatch rate, on-time delivery rate, valid tracking rate, return dissatisfaction rate, and invoice defect rate. So each of these points by itself kind of gives you an understanding of what it really means and why Amazon thinks it's important to ensure these metrics are kind of within limits. So obviously we don't want way too many cancellations. So that would mean something is wrong with the product, or maybe there's a delay in the delivery. It could be a lot of factors. The same thing with late dispatch rate, right? If we're sending out the products late, it gets delivered late to the customer. The customer is not going to be happy. End of the day, customer is gone. So individually, all these parameters and all these metrics are being tracked and monitored to ensure the sellers are doing the best they can to ensure a fantastic customer experience. And from an Amazon's point of view, the customer is absolutely having an exceptional user experience for him. He's booking the product, he's getting the product on time. Now, this is very important. The minimum advertised price, like I mentioned, it's all linked up. You have the buy box, you have multiple sellers selling products, and that is something we all know. And especially when it comes to private label products, we have a lot of sellers competing for the buy box. And let's say you have your own. Let's just, for example, say you're the manufacturer and you've got a line of distributors selling your product for you, right? Now, how do you control the pricing? Because everybody knows that the pricing is the factor. Amazon gives you a better buy box percentage if you have a lower pricing. Now, it should not be a price competition always, because that doesn't really end up as being the best thing for you as well. Because let's say you're selling a product for $20 outside, and there are people competing for the buy box, and they keep reducing the pricing. You yourself, if you're selling on Amazon, you might lose the buy box, and it doesn't really make sense after a point in time, because you would be losing out on your profit margins. So it's very important to ensure that we have this minimum advertised price as part of the contract with all your distributors. And if it is violated, you need to inform them that that is not acceptable. So how do you protect this? First thing, so I'll be talking specifically about Amazon, or how to protect your MAP violation specifically to Amazon, obviously. So I think the first important thing is to have your brand registered. I don't think Amazon has very strict guidelines or policies of taking strict actions against MAP violations, but there are ways, and it gives original sellers, or probably the OEM manufacturers, the power to analyze or understand when the MAP is being violated. So these tools are available for when your brand is registered on Amazon. So that's important for us, and it gets a lot easier to track, because you might have a lot of products, you might have hundreds, thousands, millions of products selling on Amazon, and it kind of gets a little tricky and difficult to manually check if you have the buy box. So getting your brand registered gives you access to a lot of tools that will help you track MAP violations. Once you identify that there is a seller who's selling this product, I think it's very important to directly communicate to those, because majority of the times, you would know who the seller is. You would have the details, because of all they're one of your distributors trying to compete to get the buy box. So we can probably communicate these violations directly to the sellers, the distributors. You could directly communicate to Amazon. They would try and speak to the the sellers. And if all these fail, I think it's really after a point in time, it's really good to just reach out to the customers directly, and you start selling your product directly on Amazon without having other sellers out there. I think that's the easiest way as well. Now, what is listing hijackers? Who are listing hijackers? It again goes back to the point where Amazon allows a lot of sellers to sell products, right? And it goes on to the fact that you have buy box issues, you have you have sellers competing for buy boxes. So when a seller is trying to when a seller lists his product on Amazon and Amazon identifies it as a similar product that is already listed, yeah, there are chances that they can hijack your listing by completely changing the entire, that way the listing goes for a toss, the title goes for a toss, the bullet points is completely changed, the description is changed. So this is something that we need to ensure doesn't happen, because for sometimes what happens is, sellers, they try to hijack your listing and they sell fake products, and end of the day, because the product is originally yours, it'll affect your sales momentum. You have a lot of cancellations that might come up, you might have a lot of returns that might come up, and overall account health of your account is impacted. So it's very important to ensure and keep an eye out on these listing hijackers by continuously monitoring the other sellers who are out there selling your product. We don't want them to hijack your listing end of the day. Now, how do you prevent this? Again, it's multiple things. It all goes in line with ensuring you have the buy box. It all goes in line with ensuring you have a good account health. So these are kind of common pointers that you have to continuously keep in mind, and that's the whole idea of this presentation as well, right? These three topics have been chosen to speak to you about because you have common things that can be used to ensure your buy box is maintained, you have the MFP that is taken care of, as well as you can ensure the listing hijacks. You can prevent your listing from getting hijacked. So common things are, of course, to ensure that you have the best pricing, you have the buy box there, you have your brand register, which gives you tools that will help you prevent others from hijacking your listing. You can probably also try and differentiate your product, because not all the time, if you are the manufacturer of the product, can a product be replicated easily by other sellers or manufacturers who are trying to fake sell the product, right? So you can probably, I was recently came across this article where people also suggested having a separate individual unique logo that is there on your product that's probably hidden, and so then that you can differentiate. That's just an example, right? On your product, have a logo that is somewhere not hidden, that's hidden and that's not there on the product images. So people are trying to fake sell your product, they don't realize that, and you can easily identify, what, there is a logo, your product doesn't have a logo, and that kind of helps you maintain your account health as well. So I think that's about what we've spoken about, maintaining and monitoring your metrics on Amazon. So about SellerApp, I think we have platforms, we have tools that will connect multiple facets of managing a business. You have marketing, you have sales, you have product research, you have optimizing your campaigns, managing your campaigns, the multiple tools, and we're always trying to improve the platform. We're always trying to make it a lot easier for customers to manage and optimize their businesses. We've recently launched an AI-powered automation tool on the campaign manager. So that is something that you should definitely go and check out on our platform the next time you log in. And I think at SellerApp, there's one more thing that we're always striving to do. We are trying to create this entire ecosystem for our sellers. So right from registering yourself onto Amazon to delivering, the entire life cycle of selling on Amazon is something that we strive to help sellers on their entire journey over there. So any issues, any problems, any support that you need on selling on Amazon is something that we will definitely be able to help you, either with in-house, or we have multiple partners. We've partnered with multiple companies who would help you with different facets of selling on Amazon. I think that's the end of my presentation over here. Yeah.
Yep, and thank you so much for being here, Nitin, and telling us such important topics that sellers need to keep in mind. So we will be taking some questions now, and I think that's going to be very interesting because the chat is filled with all the eager sellers waiting to learn from your expertise. So, all right, I'm adding all the experts right now on the screen. So let's welcome Ram. Hi, Ram. Nitin, and then we have Anthony as well. Hi, Anthony. Right. So let's answer some questions, starting with Okay. So the first question is good session. Thank you, William. I keep losing my buy box. Is there a way to stop it? So I think Nitin's presentation just covered all of it. So you can go. Our video will be available on the YouTube to watch again. And this question was asked before Nitin presents. So let me know if the question was answered. So the second question is for Ram again. Hi Ram, I'm selling in the UK. Does SellerApp provide for UK marketplaces? We cannot hear you. I think there's a problem with your audio. There you go. Yep.
Okay, my bad. Okay, so I think to answer the question, yes, we do provide services in Amazon UK. We do provide listing services as well as the PPC managed services. We are just going to be launching our PPC platform for Amazon UK as well as all other European marketplaces by end of March. So if anyone is excited, be ready to be excited with our AI platform as earlier mentioned, and it's going to be so exciting.
Yeah, and go check out SellerApp's tools if you haven't already. We have such an impressive dashboard, so do log in and check that out. Okay, so the next question is for Anthony. So hi Matthew. For a new product, should I target keywords with more search volume or targeted keywords that has a more conversion rate? This is a very interesting question, Anthony.
Yeah, sure. So I'm always going to be a fan of what's going to give you the highest conversion rate, right? You can go towards volume all day, every day, and you can drive a lot of volume to your traffic. But if you're not sending relevant traffic that will convert, it's only going to hurt your conversion rate at the end of the day. There's no way there's no tricky way to get around that. That's just the reality of the situation. So I would much rather for my listings send targeted traffic that is going to convert rather than sending a large volume that's not going to convert, because it's actually going to work against you. If you send a lot of volume and it doesn't convert, it's just going to hurt your conversion rate, which is going to hurt your ranking. You're going to be spending a lot of wasted money on pay-per-click.
That was a very smart answer. Thank you, Anthony. And the next question is for you as well. So Jesse wants to know that what is the average price for your listing? I'm trying to revamp our entire catalog and we sell jewelry over 100 products. So what does Pick2 offer?
I don't know. So I think they're asking about if they want to revamp all of their entire catalog and their entire listing, 100 products. Maybe not something Pick2 would help with. I think it would be more for an agency, might do photography work. Jewelry is a unique one because you have to have really specialized equipment to get good photos of the jewelry products, and you have to get models. So it's probably going to be a very expensive revamp, but if you have a good product, it might be worth doing that. I wish I had a little bit better tips there, but big product catalogs are going to be expensive to reshoot.
Yep, and I hope that you've budgeted your things well, because Q1 is all about budgeting and relocating funds that you have lost or gained in Q4. So we have another question by eCommerce Ki Pathshala. How can you do it in clothing? If you could be a little bit more specific on what topic you're talking about and comment down below again, we will be able to answer your question. The next question is redirected towards Nitin. I sell private label products for $16 to $20, assuming there's demand. What percentage of profit margin is minimum for me to move ahead? Thanks in advance.
That's a very interesting question. I think that comes down to, if you have a $16, $20 product, first thing is you need to understand the different metrics and different fees and charges that Amazon has, that Amazon charges Amazon charges sellers. So I think it's very important for us to understand what are the different kind of fees. You have the FBA fees, you have the fulfillment fees, you have the referral fees. So you have multiple Amazon related charges. And then, of course, I think it's also very important to understand what is the competition like. Is there someone selling a similar product on Amazon? If that's the case, what is the average selling price of that product on Amazon by the other sellers? So I think it's a good idea to not be way off from whatever is being sold on Amazon for that particular pricing. So, and then you can see if that's working out for you or not, and then decide if you want to proceed on selling the same product on Amazon.
Yeah, and there's another question for you. I'm just going to add that here. So it's by Nancy Green. Hi, Nancy. Thank you for attending GoSeller Day 3. I noticed that you were there in all the 3 days, so thank you for the support. I have a lot of variations for my parent ASIN, and Nancy sells apparel on Amazon. My sales are performing well, but is it worth splitting them? What do you think?
Right. So the question is interesting. So I'm going with the assumption that she's already created a parent-child variation. There's a correlation between the parent and child, and I don't think it's good idea to split those products because it's a so let's say you have like 5 to 10 parent ASINs, and then you have like variations under that. Probably size variations, probably color variations. I'm assuming because you say it's apparel. So it's always a good idea for a customer to come onto your listing page and not get diverted. So once they fall onto your listing page, you suddenly have 10 different products, 10 different sizes, or 10 different colors and 10 different, 5, 6 different sizes. So there are higher chances of conversion happening because people get to see the different creations in one place instead of going back and let's say someone's looking for a black shirt, and unfortunately or fortunately when they're searching for the product on Amazon, they get a red shirt and they somehow come onto your they just come onto your listing and they see another shirt that is more beautiful, probably it's got a floral print, it's got some different colors, and they just get attracted to it, and they might end up buying both the black as well as the other t-shirt, and because that happens because it's just right there in front of them and they don't have to go out of your listing page, and it's all there. Sale is coming to you and it's not getting diverted to other sellers as well. So I think it's not a good idea to split them. I think it's if it's already if the parent and child variation is already existing, I don't think you should be splitting them, and you should leave it as is and try to optimize the PPC campaigns to divert traffic towards your towards one of these ASINs.
Thank you for that answer, Nitin. And the next question is for Anthony. And Anthony, someone wants to know if video advertisements is a good idea. So what do you think about product videos for your listings?
I think video advertisements are a fantastic idea. They're probably one of the most effective ways to drive traffic to a listing that's not utilized by everyone. Everyone's doing pay-per-click by and large, but not everyone is running video. And so the secret to having an effective video, especially from the first page of search results, is something that can work well without sound. So there's a lot of text on the screen and it's very visual. It's like, short, about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds max. And it should really tease about what the product is and get people to be very interested to click into the listing. But I think videos can convert very well. But on some products, like videos just aren't necessary. So like, let's say you're selling a home decor item. If it's not a feature-centric product, if you're just selling like maybe a fashion item, the videos aren't going to be as important versus something it's heavily based in features. That's a very demonstrative product where you show the product in use. Then the video can help much more. If not, you're just gonna have low view rates on the video and might not be as effective.
Right, and there's another question for you, Anthony, and it's by Jay. I'm a new seller listing my products on Amazon. Does subject matter and target audience in the listing actually matter, or do they get indexed as well?
Yeah, so subject matter and target audience do matter. Again, it's for certain products. Like Amazon, in terms of the back end on Seller Central, you can add in a few different categories. I recommend putting in as much information as possible that's going to help get to those relevant search results. So if people are going through the filtering options on the left-hand side of the screen, you want to be sure that you show up if people are filtering, because if they filter down to too tight of a search criteria and your product isn't listed under that, then it won't show up. Now, again, you don't want to game the system in this regard. Like, you don't want to put yourself under something just to show up on results that aren't necessarily related to your product. Because again, if you show up and it's not showing up for relevant search criteria, then it's not going to help in terms of your conversion rate. So you can't really game the system, but I would put in, if you know correct subject matter, if you know correct target audience for your product, right? If you're like, hey, I'm selling a product specifically to this target audience and you know it, then I would put that in on the back end, or have whoever's optimizing your listing make sure they do that.
All right. Thank you so much for answering that question. And we're taking one last question before we end today's session. So we have a very interesting question here, and it's by Bhavesh Bhatt. How do we better curate content for Amazon's A9 algorithm? Can we use Google's BERT model for better content for the A9 algorithm? So who wants to take this question? Anthony, no?
I'll give it a shot. Why not?
Okay, go ahead, Ram.
All of us can answer this question. I mean, a little bit, right? So I think, as Anthony and probably Nathan already kind of mentioned earlier, right? I mean, A9's algorithms, there's no gaming way to do that, right? There's no way to cheat the whole system. But I would say try and use as much as possible sources to kind of help in the thing. If Google's BERT can help you in the model to help you with the content, help you with advertising, help you understand how the market works, absolutely yes, right? So I think as much as resources, as much as help, as much as advice from people, I would say that more than using Google, kind of ask questions, right? Ask questions to people, read through blogs. I'm sure all of us, read through kind of blogs. So get as much as resources as possible to kind of help your business, right? So I would say, yeah, I mean, it's a good way to kind of do that.
Yep, I think that you can. That was a really good answer of my internet there. So, Bhavish, if you were not satisfied with your answer, leave your email ID in the comment section below, and we will get back to you in 24 hours with the correct answer and with more information. So, thank you so much for answering all the questions, for all the wonderful speakers here. And I would like to end the session here. And this was it for GoSeller 2021. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for supporting us throughout so much. So, by the way, the event is not over because check your email IDs and you will be expecting some goodie bags and some words from our sponsors. So you should look out for that. And SellerApp is providing 30% discount on our platform right now for all the registered users out there. So if you haven't registered for the event yet, you can do that right now. And I see Bhavesh has answered saying that thing, understood, thank you. So great job, Ram, in answering Bhavesh's question. And yes, we will end the session right here, and I hope you. Bye bye.